everybody, and welcome to week 2 of Faerie's Awakening. And how are you all doing? I hope you are really well, and I really hope you've enjoyed starting your journey with the fairy realm. I know that the fairies are very excited that you're on this path, and I think they've been making themselves quite visible over the last week or so. So, what this thing I'm wearing? I don't know what you're talking about, it's just casual houseware. Well, you may have noticed, how could you not have noticed, that in the Northern Hemisphere we are at the time of Samhain, and in the Southern Hemisphere we are at the time of Beltane, and it's a seriously powerful, beautiful time to connect with the fairy realm and to celebrate fairy energy. But to be honest, I'd probably wear this any day of the week, so, I'm not using that as an excuse. But we're dressing up because it's Samhain here. And this, as the sheets we have this week go into detail about, is the most powerful time. It's the time when the veil is thinnest, and the realm of fairy and the realm of spirit and the realm of humans merge, and we have a greater access to connection with the fairy folk. And it can be a very powerful, exciting, but also disconcerting time. It's a time to stay grounded, a time to be really aware of how we're feeling, because we are in the heart of Scorpio. We are at a time when the veils are so thin and the energy is really intense. It's important to stay in ourselves, to stay grounded, and to really connect with how we're really feeling at this time, because in the Northern Hemisphere for Samhain, it is a very inner time. We are really bombarded by the Halloween celebrations, and yes, it's without a doubt a time to get out there, have fun, be crazy and mischievous. It really is. But we must not neglect the other side of things. That's when we kind of go a bit wonky, I think, if we neglect that this is a powerful time of inner transformation, a time to reflect, release and honour what has gone before. It is a time of the Feast of the Dead, and that the spirits of the afterlife are closer to us now than they would be at any other time of year. It is thought that at Samhain, for one night only, the realm and the doorway to fairy is open. So it's a time to be really, magical and powerful, but also to approach it with respect, because it's, instead of invoking and summoning, maybe just watch and be and feel and ask. We've got some really lovely projects of people of all hemispheres in this week's sheets. So I've really focused on Samhain and Beltane at part 1 of this week. So we've got extensive information about Beltane for you guys in the Southern Hemisphere, and we've extensive information about Samhain for all us up in the Northern Hemisphere. But of course, when the wheel turns again to Beltane, Northern Hemisphere can use it and some of the Southern Hemisphere can use the Samhain stuff. That's the joy of this course, you can keep using it. I do go on about the Wheel of the Year and the other festivals, but because for me, Samhain and Beltane are like hinges, axes of the year, of life with Beltane and death with Samhain. It is a real powerful bridge time. So I've really gone into detail about these two festivals for you guys to work with and for you to connect with the fairy realm at these powerful times. At Beltane, of course, it's a time of life, it's a time of love and fertility and celebration. So you guys in the Southern Hemisphere will be connecting with fairies and the fairy realm in a very different way to us up here in the north. It's going to be a time of love and life and dancing and awakening the fires within. But we go into all of that in the sheets. But I just wanted to wish you a really merry festival time, and I hope you really enjoy connecting with the fairies at this time. Later on in this week, what I'm going to be doing is, this week is quite a big week for input. There's going to be a lot of work this week. However, fear not, week 3 is more chilled, okay? Because I really want to put in a lot this week, because I want to go into Samhain and Beltane because it's such a powerful time, and we can look at some rituals and some ways of working for you guys, because we're going to make the most of it. We started this course preparing for this really huge energy surge that we have right now, so it's really nice to surf that tide and to work with that energy. But what I really wanted to bring in as early as possible in the course was meeting and connecting with your fairy guides and fairy allies. So we'll be looking at that a little bit later this week. So next week we're going to have a bit of a catch-up week. We're going to really work with connecting deeper with our fairy guides, and we're going to explore the realms of fairy. So next week is much more about journeying and meditation and going in there and really befriending your fairy guides. But this week I'm piling it on for you. You've got a lot going on. But we like that, don't we? We enjoy it. But I just felt that the sooner we connect with the guides that are going to take us safely into the realm of fairy, the better. So on our Thursday handout this week, we're going to be going into that a little bit more, and the meditation this week will be more about connecting with the realm of fairy and your fairy guides. So I'm really excited. I think that's going to be a really important part of the course, that we may know who our fairy allies or our fairy guides are. We may have a real clue that maybe it's a fairy queen or it's a particular fairy being that always appears. But I'm not saying you just have the one fairy guide, but in this course we're going to be mostly connecting with one fairy guide that wishes to show us around, basically. It's like going to a foreign country without knowing the language, having the currency, or knowing what the etiquette is. You need a guide. You need a guide to say, oh, don't do that here. This is how you speak. This is what we say. This is what we wear. Not that it would be that strict, but it's just to get the idea of the places to go and how to be, and to get the most out of this experience. Plus your fairy guides can be a lot of fun, and they want to share your healing journey, which is why I wanted to bring this in as early as possible. So yeah, that'll be the second part of this week, and I'm really looking forward to that with you, because I think I can feel them chomping at the bit to connect with you, and they may appear in your Samhain or Beltane ceremonies. So I'll have a little talk you around my Samhain altar so far. I'm going to add on it tomorrow and pictures of ancestors and family members that have passed over, and loved ones that are missed. But at the moment I have some, you can't really celebrate, some Samhain celebrations. I've got antlers, I've got some sort of pumpkin flowers there, sort of false ones, not real ones. And this epic flashing cat. You know, this is the thing, Samhain is a deep festival, but it's also got the silliness of Halloween. We find humour and brightness and merriment and cheekiness and mischief at this time, and that's the kind of crux of Samhain, that we have those two sides. It's important to kind of keep the lightness and the fun and the mischief and the revelry, but also to go into that time and find the space for honouring the real meaning of Samhain, the deeper meanings of Samhain, I should say. I have an apple here on the altar because apples are harvested at this time of year. Also, I live in Glastonbury, and the Avalon apples are very important, and we have apples everywhere. So the apple is, you know, it's an important symbol of the goddess, as well a symbol of life, and it is a symbol of one of the symbols of this time of the year, one of the fruits of this time of the year. We have my terribly carved pumpkin. There's a photo of him, I've called him Brian, on the worksheets, but I won't pick him up because he's a little bit of a delicate soul. So I've got my pumpkin there with his candles burning. I've got a little fairy statue here on the altar, and a hugely important part of my journey since last Samhain was this fellow. Now, you're lucky I don't show anyone this apart from my friends, so you're lucky. You're a bit of a secret one. So this is a deer skull that was found by myself and a friend just after last Samhain, so November time last year. But it was found as a full deer, and was found in the levels in the marshes, and I really wanted to take him home with me. So there's a long story of this deer which I won't go into now, but yeah, it wasn't a pretty journey, and we have what I find, I love this energy of this deer. It's become a real companion on my journeys and yeah, love him to bits. But the process of him being that quite composed deer that we found in the marshes to this here was a journey of dealing with the ugly things in life, the not great things in life, the things you don't want to face, the things you're running away from, and having to face them and deal with them. And they weren't pretty, but what came out the other end was something really beautiful. So the process for me, because I put it off a lot, finished in April. So that was almost 6 months, and here we are another 6 months where I'm celebrating the spirit of this deer, as we go into Samhain, the spirit of the deer, and also the spirit of what this deer has taught me as well. So there he is on the altar. So find maybe things that have taught you something this year. Find something that maybe represent your journey this year and place it on your altar. This is without a doubt, it's Samhain, a time to celebrate those who have gone before. But it's also a time to celebrate our own journeys and what we've achieved, what we've learned. I've written out a ritual for Samhain for you guys to release, because for me it's the old Celtic New Year, so much more powerful than the actual New Year, our modern New Year in January. It's a time to release old habits, old situations, old patternings that aren't working for us anymore, opening up to go deep and to bring in the new over the winter time. So it's a real time of release, so there's a releasing ceremony. And for those at Beltane, we have a Beltane wish ceremony as well in the worksheets. So on this axis of the year, on this powerful point, where the veils are open, the veils are thin, I really hope that you are feeling truly connected to your fairy friends, and that your altars are places that you're learning to go to smile, to cry, to leave offerings, to share your journey with the Fae. And I'm really excited to share this course with you and celebrate Beltane and Samhain with you. And later on this week we're going to be looking at our fairy guides. So I hope you have a blessed celebration. There is some homework already on not only doing the ceremony but also to write a poem. This could be 4 lines, does not have to be an epic Gilgamesh of a poem, but fairies love rhyme, they love poetry. It's a real gift to them and an honour to them that you would write them a poem. So at this time of celebration it would be a great time to begin a little poem or write a little poem for them, sharing your journey. It doesn't have to be sophisticated, it can be really, really simple. And whatever poem you write, they're going to love it. They're going to love the fact that you've made the effort for them. You can put that on your altar over the celebration periods, and I'm sure it will be really well received. You could always also go to a sacred space, a place in the land which you feel really connected to, and read out your poem to the spirits of the land. And because I'm really nosy and I love poems, you could also share them on the group page. There's no judgment. Are there, guys? No, there's no judgment. It makes me really happy to hear from you. I'm really happy to read your poetry and read your gifts to fairies. If you do feel free, so if you do feel comfortable to share your poetry, I would love to see it, and I'm sure the fairies would too. I will publish my poem as well, so we'll all share. And there's lots of other homework and things to get on with this week. It's a really, really busy week, but it's an energetically busy week. And as I mentioned, next week we will chill a little bit. So really look after you at this time. It's intense energy, wherever you are in the world. Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, the energy is intense, the tides are strong. I often feel more intense at Beltane than I do at Samhain. I quite, touch wood, at Samhain you're kind of prepared for the dark and the deep stuff to come out. Beltane sometimes hits me by surprise, where the energy just throws me totally. So just because it's all about life and burgeoning energy, it also depends on where your birth chart is and what that time of the year means for you. But I find Beltane can be really, because you're on that axis, it can throw up stuff from the other end of the scale. And also with Samhain, sometimes we get Beltane energy coming through. Both, close your ears children, both times of the year are very sexual times of the year and very fertile times of the year. In different ways, so they're both powerful energies, and so yeah, just be open to how this energy is affecting you. Don't expect it to be bright and breezy because it's Beltane, and don't expect it all to be dark and depressing because it's Samhain. there is absolute magic and power and wildness on both ends of the spectrum, but they are connected. Life and death, it's the same cycle, as you know. So just be aware that you may feel intense, you may feel wild one minute, then like crying the next minute. Just be 110% gentle on you. Go with the feelings, get out in the land if you can, connect with the earth, connect with the fairies, and ask your fairy guides to join you. And I will see you all really, really soon. Have a lovely week, share your stories. I'm loving hearing all your updates on the Facebook page, and I'll see you all really soon. Happy Beltane, happy Samhain, lots of love. Bye.